And welcome, I'm Eric Shawn. Time now for a Sunday House Call.
And I'm Marthel Neville. Welcome to you. And joining us is Dr. David Samadi, Chairman and Professor of Urology at Lenox Hill Hospital and Chief of Robotic Surgery.
And as always, Dr. Mark Siegel, Professor of Medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center and author of The Inner Pulse, Unlocking the Secret Code of Sickness and Health. And that's what we're going to do today, like we do every Sunday with these two guys.
Good to see you, Doc.
Great to see you guys.
So we're going to start here with this because May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and a new study offers compelling evidence that regular use of sunscreen can protect you from melanoma, the deadliest form of skin cancer. What more can we do to reduce the risk of this devastating disease? And Dr. Samadi, I start with you. First of all, do you agree with the study that if we just regularly apply the sunscreen, do we have to have a certain,
SPF?
Exactly, a certain level of that, and also what more can we do?
Arthel, this is absolutely important because over 2 million Americans get diagnosed with skin cancer. If you add all the prostate cancer, lung cancer, and breast cancer, and colon cancer, there are still less than skin cancer, the most common cancer in America. So people can relate to this. So we always knew that SPF and sunscreen absolutely helps, but in this study that's coming from Ohio Cancer Center, they realized that if you use SPF 30, it can actually reduce the risk of getting melanoma by 80%, which is very significant. Now, it's a mouse study, but it probably will apply to human. What I want people to really know and get out of this segment is to really learn about screening. Have someone, not everyone can go to doctors every month, but have one of your loved ones look at your hair and the entire body and inspect.
You're saying checking the scalp,
Check
right?
your scalp, especially behind ears, around the nose area, private areas, arms, legs, everywhere. They're looking for moles. So that's very important.
For moles.
So moles. But when you find something that looks like melanoma, and I'm so glad you brought this up, Arthel, there are 5 mnemonics, A, B, C, D, and E. So A is if you see a lesion that's asymmetric. The right side, if you put a line in between the right side and left side don't match. Irregular borders, that's B. The color could be brown or black. D is the diameter, if it's over 6 millimeter, and certainly if the lesion is evolving. You found tiny mole, and everybody has moles. If over time it's getting bigger, becoming irregular borders, please go see your doctor.
Well, Mark, shouldn't you go to a dermatologist at least once a year to get examined?
I completely agree with that. At least your regular doctor once a year. Now, internists are trained to at least look for some of the issues that we're talking about here, irregular borders, changes in color. That's the front lines. Your general practitioner can say, hey, that thing's too big. The bigger it is, the more we worry about it. The darker it is, the more we worry about it. The more irregular it is. And internally, if it varies from one part to the other, we worry about that. Now, what we do to prevent this, by the way, is not just putting on the sunscreen, SPF 30, as David was mentioning. You got to reapply it. You go in the water, you've got to reapply it.
Even if it's waterproof?
Well, they say it's water resistant, but that's not totally true. You're swimming in the water, you reapply it. Also, you should apply it in areas you weren't thinking about. You know, we don't realize this, but actually our eyes are a problem and our scalp. You have to wear sunglasses. You got to wear a broad-brimmed hat. You should actually consider wearing long sleeves or wearing long pants.
Put it on your ears.
Your ears especially. There are plenty of melanomas on the ears. Melanoma, if you have one sunburn as a child, doubles your risk of melanoma in a lifetime. Sunburns are a big deal, and it's not just sunburns, it's also UVB, which is the deeper penetrating rays. So you have both to worry about.
I want to ask you, as a female and as a black woman, 2 questions. There are some makeups with SPF in it. So if it's not 30 in that SPF in the makeup, do you have to apply, sunscreen on top of that or underneath your makeup in addition to that? And also, with my complexion, should I wear sunscreen?
Absolutely. You would have probably less risk than somebody who is very light-skinned, blue eyes, red hair. So they are at higher risk than you, but you would be at risk for getting melanoma, and you absolutely have to apply this. Going back to what we were talking about screening, when you catch melanoma first, the likelihood of survival is 98%. Okay, that's a great number. When it's advanced, it's only 15%, guys. This is a serious segment, and you need to do this. Now, one other thing. A lot of teenagers are going to these tanning salons. It increases the risk of skin cancer. There's no debate here, and I know we're going to get a lot of red flags.
People should go to those?
No.
I think it increases the risk. If you have had 4 to 5 episodes of burn, and I've had it, everyone over here has 4 to 5 episodes of burn in your lifetime, it increases the risk of melanoma twofold. Make sure you keep the newborns away from the sun and always reapply this every 2 hours.
Dr. Siegel, you know, hearing Dr. Asmati talk about the tanning bed.
I'm not scaring you, am I?
Not at all.
Okay,
I'm
so
loving
good
this information.
education.
It's very good news to use. But I'm thinking, you made me think of something because you see the younger people, they don't care. Like, I'm 20-something. Who cares?
They don't
But
think
talk
that way.
about exactly. So they're getting the exposure now. They're in the tanning beds, out on the beach. When will that come back to bite them?
Well, it may take years, and you know what? It's understanding something called UVB. There's two types of ultraviolet light. There's the one that's easy to know about, burns the heck out of you, right? You get a burn, we just said 5 burns over the course of your lifetime doubles your risk of melanoma. But tanning beds will give you that deep penetrating UVA light, and that's been shown more and more to be associated with skin cancer. So when you apply your sunscreen, make sure that it has things like titanium oxide, zinc oxide, benzene in it, chemicals that are chemical barriers. There's been some talk about that. I'm a huge fan of getting sunscreen that will protect against both UVA and UVB. You got to look on the label. And another thing, one last thing. Don't just apply the sunscreen. Get out of the sun. Arthel, the more time you spend in the shade during hot summer days, the better we're talking about here. We don't want direct sun exposure.
Actually,
as little as possible.
Yeah, the worst time actually during the day is between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so shade is obviously the way to go, and you cover yourself.
So a tease for next week. Do those self-tanners cause cancer? Don't answer. We'll do it next week.
And I want to know is if you go up to, like, you know, sometimes like 80 or 90 on the SPF.
It's not needed, Eric. 30
Wow,
to 50 is as high as you go. You're increasing by a percentage point when you get beyond 50. SPF 30 or more is what you want.
The difference between 30 to 100 SPF is not a lot of protection.
More than 30.
Reapplying it more often is absolutely the more important part.
Okay, great advice, and we'll keep it in mind all through the summer, and self-tanners next week.